So, what you can learn from Kevin Durant going to the Warriors. Spiritual checkup. Let's look at it this way. 1 Peter 3:17. For it is better, if it is God's will, to suffer for doing good than for doing evil. So what we have to learn is that, Kevin Durant went to the Golden State Warriors. Why? Because he didn't want to be the greatest player to ever play the game of basketball and to not get a championship. When you look back and you see, this guy, yeah, everybody like, oh man, he shouldn't have did like this, he shouldn't do like this. First of all, at the end of the day, he's a grown man. In basketball, some teams cut you, some teams trade you, without your permission, And, his contract was up. He gave them 7 years, And, his first championship was his first time he went against LeBron. They were that close, They broke them up when they had Harden, and Harden was just coming into himself, And I felt like they were actually going to get a championship had they just stayed together. But, like he said last night, he was 8 years old when he told his mom, he was going to be there. And then, last year they up 3-1 against the Warriors, and they won. So you look at it and you're like, all right, well, they won. And then he's like, you know what? After that, it was hurt. Like, he gave everything he had. Like, he played his heart out. And yeah, sometimes he have a bad game. He might miss a couple shots. But that don't mean that he ain't giving his all. He was giving his all, man. A player like that, when you love basketball, you do your all. Even when I played football, I give my all, and sometimes I just missed a tackle. That don't mean I didn't give my all. It just means I just missed a tackle. So when, when he lost to the Warriors, that was devastating. Everybody talked about him, criticism and everything like that. And then he ends up, after the Warriors end up losing, they were like, man, we need some help. So what do? They went and got the second best player in the NBA, because where everybody was talking about, when LeBron them beat them, when the Heat beat OKC, that he was the second best player in the NBA. So they went and got some help. They actually had, he actually stayed the night, one of the nights, and they asked him, to come to their team, so did the Clippers and everything. So he decided to go there. It was easier for him to go there. He didn't have to have a lot of criticism, He didn't have to have a lot of pressure on him to win. And also, too, if he lose, the pressure was a lot easier, But we look at it, And when I read that scripture, people were like, oh, so you saying that God picked him to win? What I'm saying is that God puts us all in position to win. It's what we do about it. They worked, they went to practice, they did what they had to do, and they got it 3-1. So all they had to do was just win one more game. But 1 Peter 1:6, in this greatly rejoice, though for a little while you will have to suffer various trials. So Kevin Durant had to suffer some various trials, for what he was going through. When he left, his restaurant in OKC, people were, going there and being disrespectful and everything like that. And some people hold grudges and everything like this. And like I said, he can go to any team that he wants to go to, because that's how it is. You can do that. If you don't want to work for McDonald's no more, you want to go to Burger King, people gonna have a problem. Commentators and everybody like that. 1 Peter 2:15. For it is God's will that by doing good you should silence the ignorance of foolish men. So not everybody is qualified to give him advice. They were like, oh, you need to stay in OKC. Now listen, he could have stayed in OKC. Maybe possibly could have got his championship. But, obviously, the Warriors were like, hey, you come over here, we can win a championship. All we got to do is beat LeBron and the Cavs. This is history. The last three years is probably never going to happen again. The same two teams went to the NBA Finals. It's history in the making. But they went to, he went to the Warriors. So, they got him. They want to win a championship, and that's it. They was like, how are we going to get back to beating LeBron? How are we going to get back to winning another championship? And that's what they did. They played their hearts out and everything like that. Galatians 1:10. It says, obviously, I'm not trying to win the approval of people, but of God. If pleasing people were my goal, I would not be a Christ's servant. So there's a point where you have to say, let people say what they got to say. The commentators, everybody talked about him for going to OKC or for leaving OKC. Oh, that was a dumb move and everything like this. Listen, that man wanted to win the championship. That's why they play. They play for rings. That's what they do. They got money. Yeah, that comes with it. but they played for the championships, you know, and he finally got one to taste that. All his hard work, you know what I'm saying? Everybody talked about him. And now, let everybody talk about him, just like it is being a Christian. They're going to talk about you. But listen, it's easier. He got a championship now, so people can say whatever they want to say at the end of the day. Psalms 25:3. No one who hopes in you will ever be put to shame. So if your hope is in God, you'll never be put to shame. Again, they both had their chances. You know, game 3 was a pivotal game that the Cavs could have had. And yeah, they could have been like Cavs in 7. Yeah, it was a chance. But, you know what I'm saying, all they had to do was just win one. You know what I'm saying? Steve Kerr obviously was like, y'all remember last year? When we was here, we was up 3-1. And y'all remember that bitter taste in y'all mouth where everybody talked about y'all and y'all lost and things like that? He ain't want that. You know, they ain't want that. And you just got to take advantage of it. So my thing is, you can't listen to what everybody's saying to you. Everybody is not qualified to give you advice. And that does not, and listen, even if you feel like they have the accreditation, like, you know, these commentators, they got a degree, you know what I'm saying? They've been sitting on there and they was like, oh, that was a weak move and whatever like that. Regardless of the fact, it was a move. And I bet you right now, he's sitting over there happy that he made that move, you know what I'm saying? Because he got a championship. At the end of the day, can't nobody ever take that ring that he got from him, you know what I'm saying? And he's happy. So what I'm saying is that we got to be careful who we listen to. That's called discernment, you know what I'm saying? Because not everybody is qualified to give us advice, even if it looks like on paper that they have it. Like, again, I said, these people have degrees, you know what I'm saying? Commentators, people that play basketball. That does not mean that they're qualified to give you advice. And some people would told him to stay, but he wanted to go there and get a championship. And we can break it down from people that left and went to championship and different teams and things like that. Nobody said nothing when Shaq left. You know, when Kobe wanted him to leave and he ended up going to Miami with another championship. You know what I'm saying? They talk about, oh, LeBron did it first. No, Boston did it before that. And even Jordan did it before that when they got Dennis Rodman. So if you know, I know basketball. But, you know, I just wanted to bring that point that if you love God, there's going to be some things that he, you know what I'm saying, that you're going to end up doing that people won't have a problem with. But don't worry about that. Let folk talk. They're going to talk about you regardless. So let them talk. At the end of the day, he got a championship and folk can say what they want to say. Folk can say what they want to say. But I tell you what, I give credit to Stephen Curry. You know, he did give God glory on that biggest stage and everything like that. So I definitely appreciate that, man of God. So, and also too, you got to look at Kevin Durant, man. It says honor thy mother and thy father so their days may be long and holy. And you got to give him one credit, man. He honored his mother, man. And God had put him in position to win. You know what I'm saying? That's why it was his decision to, you know what I'm saying, to go, and his mom stood behind him. You know, yeah, all the Warriors and the Warrior fans stood behind him and everything like that. But at the end of the day, it's about winning championships. You know what I'm saying? And he ended up leaving. Like I said, he gave him 7 years. Same thing LeBron did when LeBron gave Cleveland 7 years. But I just wanted to say that. But just let folk talk, man. That's why you got to ask God for discernment so you can see. Because some people would have been like, oh, stay. You know, think about it. We want to see the NBA where it was like Jordan era, where it was a lot of good teams. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like that anymore. You know what I'm saying? There's a few super teams. And, you know what I'm saying? There's some other teams that we don't even really want to see. People was waiting the whole season to see the Cavs and the Warriors play again. You know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to say that, man. Listen, it's just an honor. Like I said, man, congrats to Kevin Durant. You know what I'm saying? Like, you definitely deserve it, man. Like, I saw you work hard. You know what I'm saying? I saw, like, what I did, and people would say something, you know, and I wasn't on the stage that you had. But, you know, people would say something. But it is what it is, man. So, I'm glad for you. And like I said, man, congrats to the Warriors. I mean, y'all deserve it. Like, y'all went out and y'all won, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got somebody in your team. And at the end of the day, basketball fans, let's be real. When we go play pickup basketball, what do? We go get the best people. You know what I'm saying? You don't pick this person. We say, all right, well, you want to roll on my team? They get the people that they can possibly win with. And that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? We do it all the time. So teams, that's what they do. They team up and they get players. You know, that's why we draft. That's why they trade. You know, it's basketball at the end of the day. So, all right, man. See y'all. Love y'all. God bless.